Hello and welcome to Exploited Crimes and Technology. My name is Opal Singleton. I'm the president and CEO of an organization called Million Kids, millionkids.org. Our organizations help family and teenagers in combating human trafficking and online social media exploitation. But we do a lot of other things as well. And we've been doing this in the Inland Empire for about 15 years. And this radio show is brought to you by Million Kids. So we normally talk about things like sex trafficking or social media exploitation and try to give you ideas on how to keep your kids safe from predators. That's really the goal in our life. But I'd like to go a little bit different direction today. So in interest of being totally open with you, I just came back from a dynamite vacation. It was an unplanned vacation, quite frankly. We have been sitting here in this heat in Riverside, California, and it seems like with all the political infighting going on, with inflation going up, with, the threats of having some sort of disease around you at all times and being bombarded day and night with negative stuff, I told my husband, let's go somewhere, okay? And we did. We looked it up. Never been and never heard of this cruise line called Silver Sea. I am totally a fan. They're not paying me to say this, by the way. They have no idea I'm saying that. But what a well put together group of people. We did an Alaska cruise to get out of this heat, and it was just fabulous. We saw eagles, we saw whales, we saw bears. Normally, when you go to Alaska, you don't really get to see bears. I got to see bears in the wild, and it was really, really something. It also gave me a lot of time to think and kind of live a normal life instead of constantly living in the world of research and like that. So what went on there, I want to share with you, and I want to just share some of my thinking that is going on as I began to see other things that are happening out there, listening to what many of you probably listen to every day. And perhaps I don't see that as you do because of the fact that I spend my days, and I have, what separates Million Kids from so many other advocacy groups out there is that for the last 14 years, we have spent our days doing a massive amount of research. We are a post-certified law enforcement trainer. Most civilians are not, but that it means that we are allowed to train first responders. And in order to do that, I want to base it on facts. So facts and true information is very important to me. Whenever I look at particular cases, I try to analyze them about what is going on. And I want to make sure who is publishing that particular piece of information. Are they believable? Do they have a political agenda one way or the other? Are they an expert in their field? Are they just simply trying to sway your line of thinking? And I have done that for many, many years and have a large following. If you, by the way, want to know a lot more about specific details of how human trafficking and online social media work, you can follow us at millionkids.org, not .com, .org, millionkids.org. And you can get a lot of free information about what is changing. Those particular crimes are changing a lot, and a lot of it has to do with technology. Of course, a lot of it has to do with the changing laws in California, but also the fact that we have an open border, which means, poor people from all over the world are coming in, but along with them are organized criminal groups that they owe money to that are oppressing them, but now oppressing them on our soil. So that is the background of what we do. We get involved in cases. We turn them over to the police department. We educate parents on what to look for and like that. But one of the things that I have really come to terms lately, got to clean up my English here. Anyway, is that what has changed over the last few years when it comes to truth and it comes to information? While I was on my trip to Alaska, we spent a couple of extra days and I met with some old friends of mine in Washington State. And I knew these people from when I was a teenager, way back in the Midwest. And they're just incredible folks who have spent their entire life serving the public and helping people, helping families. They are a director of a YMCA organization up there called Hope Unlimited up in Washington. And it was an interesting discussion as we talked about all the changes that have taken place. And more important, both this couple and myself have a burning desire to prepare this next generation and how to live in a world where truth is very hard to find. Truth is kind of a lost art, quite frankly. And so how do we teach our kids who are going to live on the World Wide Web and have millions and millions and millions of people that they interact with that they have never met, and they are going to be bombarded day and night with texts and with short videos and with news blasts and things like that about somebody giving them some information? How can they determine what is true and what is not true? I don't know about you and me, but after watching the two political parties and their conventions, I say to myself, is there any truth left on earth? When you hear all that is out there. I'm old enough to remember before there were 24-hour news cycles. I remember when CNN was a big deal because they were coming on. And up until then, you got the news at 10 p.m. at night. And it was a local company who would then give you some of the broader information. But now, with the onset of 24-hour news, what we found was agencies, public relations companies, felt the need to fill that up and keep you filled with information. So all of that started out so that it began to change how we get our information. Now it is the worldwide media. When I get up in the morning and I start my research, I go through all of my emails, of which something like 70 an hour I'm getting, let alone God knows how many texts per hour. And I start to look through it, but I'm looking for particular types of information. So I look at the news from Fox, from CNN, from BBC, from Al Jazeera. I even look at China News Agency because I want to be able to find the facts. And what I find is every one of those stations are giving you their versions of the truth. Okay, not necessarily the truth, but their versions of the truth. So as 24-hour media began to take hold, they began to look for all kinds of ways to fill that up and fill you full of information. But now those days are, old people look at 24-hour media, because our kids are getting texts. They're getting Instagram, they're getting those Twitter feeds. They are being fed data literally by the second. And it's coming in massive amounts with very little time to identify who the user is or who the sender is, what is their political goals or background, how much effort was put in there to verify whether or not there's any truth to it, is there any validity? And even if it's something that's not true, it goes by so fast and is replaced with so much new information that it's long and gone and nobody is held accountable. Now we're adding to it AI. And this is something that I was talking with my friends about, because artificial intelligence will change the way you, and especially your young people, will be receiving information. Because with artificial intelligence, you no longer need a journalist to sit down, do the research, verify the source of it, make sure it's accurate, make sure it's presented right, and then given to you. And if they were incorrect or wrong or purposely wrong, in the old days, they actually got fired. I remember a couple of big time people that were caught in sending out true disinformation, not misinformation, disinformation, knowing it was true, not true, and yet putting it out there. But today it is coming through in volumes that you don't even remember who said it or what they said or whether or not there's any accuracy of it. With artificial intelligence, you won't need that person to create that news story from scratch. You're going to have artificial intelligence picking up a previous news story, modifying one or two lines, giving you a salacious title, and then poof, you get it all over again, and it seems real. This is Opal Singleton. We are up against that break, so stay with us. We're going to be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Hey, let me tell you about my favorite restaurant in Riverside, Monarch Asian Bistro. The atmosphere and decor are simply stunning. The service is great too. It's a wonderful environment for a romantic dinner or a family get-together. It's not just another Chinese restaurant. The Monarch Asian Bistro is upscale and it serves Thai food as well as unique Asian-inspired dishes that are just fabulous. My favorite is the pad see ew beef. My husband likes the orange chicken, and the Chinese chicken salad is always great. Our friends sometimes order the Emperor's Choice or Monarch steak. It is my favorite go-to place. Go ahead and give it a try. It's Monarch Bistro in Riverside, Canyon Crest Town Center next to Ralph's. They are open for lunch and dinner every day but Tuesday. Go ahead, give it a try. You're going to love it.
Real estate sales in the Inland Empire are really hot. Sean and Colleen at Caldwell Banker Armstrong Properties in Riverside are proud to sponsor this show. They are the best in the Inland Empire. They're fair, honest, creative, and they care about you and your situation. If you're in the market to buy or sell a home, call Sean and Colleen at 951-529-4066.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of MillionKids.org. I believe the four most powerful words on earth are I believe in you. So we created a challenge coin that says, I believe in you on one side and stand tall, you are loved on the other side. This one-of-a-kind challenge coin is a perfect gift for birthdays, anniversaries, graduation, Christmas presents, or just an anytime gift for someone you love. What a powerful message for a parent or a grandparent to give to a young person. This 2-inch coin is made of polished gold. It's striking to look at, and it is priceless to hold. It is packaged in a beautiful black velvet gift box. What a great way to leave a legacy of love that will last forever. To purchase this coin, go to millionkids.org/gallery. Each coin is $25. Go to millionkids.org/gallery to purchase and give a legacy of love.
AM 590, The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about information overload and what is true. I share that because I took some time off, and it was really, really a great thing to do. I work in a very intense environment, and I am dedicated to helping kids stay safe from predators. And to do that means that I want to know all about the various crimes. So I'm known for my research for things like sextortion, blackmail with a photo, which is expanding rapidly. It's just terrifying as entire worlds are being connected now by high-speed internet. Places like Nigeria and Pakistan and Philippines, where their organized criminal people can reach our kids because our kids sleep with our phone, because our kids are playing on video games, because our kids are carrying some sort of device 24/7 looking to interact with somebody and like that. So I study money laundering, gangs, cartels, all kinds of things. But one of the things that I really got a taste of as kind of a civilian that wasn't involved in research is the amount of time a human being is literally lambasted with information from the outside on a normal day. Now, I expect to be lambasted with information. I'm seeking it out. It's what I do for a living. But when I took time off and began to look at all of this and have dialogue with several of my friends, it's an interesting thing to stop and think about. Now, first of all, I'm going to give a caveat that we know this is a kind of a unique time in history because we're going through a political environment. And so you have both conventions going, and you have wall-to-wall media coverage. On top of it, you have wars going on around the world, and various people have different opinions about all that should be happening. And it ends up in a lot of protests and a lot of people wanting you to think a particular way. One of the dialogues I had with one of my old friends is, how do you raise a child in this environment? We no longer just have 24/7 news media that you can turn off because some huge percentage in the high 90% of people have some sort of technology device that connects them to the World Wide Web. That means that you're also getting all kinds of data that is being given to you. You get a blurb, a beep, a text that come in, an alert that is out there, breaking news all the time. And it's a fascinating time when you look at it because it's coming into you at all angles. When I sit down at my work, I have all of these emails. Now, kids don't use emails. They text, but you watch them. They text almost 24/7. I'm exaggerating. You get it. But then you have these alerts that come on all the time that get your attention. We have a fighter jet off the coast of Alaska, or we have a earthquake that happened in Nebraska, or wherever it is. And so you have this kind of adrenaline rush that's coming to you all the time. And it comes in small bites with a little bit of information. And it's coming in 24/7. The thing that I was sharing with my friend is this is going to get even crazier because with artificial intelligence, you don't need those people to sit down and create an article. They simply take an old article and add 2 or 3 lines on it and a big announcement to you and send it out regularly. And so it's going to greatly increase the amount of data that is out there. And it might be real data that is honest and data that you're looking for, or it could be some emotional, anxiety-driven headline to get you to pay attention. All of these are geared towards what they call clickbait, getting you to click on the ads and be able to get your attention and also to sway your mindset. And you add to that what happens with a political cycle, then we are at a place that we have never been before. And one of the questions I have, and one of the things we've talked about is, how do we prepare our kids to live in this world? Let's say your kid is 5. By the time they're 15, this is going to look like child's play. There is going to be so many people trying to drive their line of thought that it's going to be very, very challenging to raise children so that they understand who they are, what they believe in, what their principles are, and when to reject what is obviously misinformation or disinformation. In the course of all this, I looked up an article I thought was quite interesting about what is the difference between misinformation and disinformation. This article is coming to you, by the way, by, I thought it was well written, coming to you by Foundation for Individual Rights and Expression. So they probably have some interest in what they're sharing with you. But what they're saying is the terms sound the same and they are not the same. So they go on and they say misinformation is when somebody just gets the facts wrong. Okay, for example, a friend tells me the grocery store opens at 7 on Sunday when it's really open at 8. And though they didn't intend for it to be information that was incorrect, it was incorrect. It may cost you some inconvenience. but it is not disinformation. It is misinformation. Example, I love the story they put in here. President Joe Biden recently said they traveled to 54 states rather than 50. That is misinformation, not disinformation. Anyway, it's just a gaffe, they say. The problem with disinformation is that it is an intentional desire to mislead under disinformation. And headline, government attempts to label speech misinformation, disinformation, and malinformation are all free speech, according to this. So they go on to say that some of the largest purveyors of destructive disinformation are governments, which engage in propaganda to ensure regime stability or create instability in their adversaries. They're not saying which governments, but I like their choice of words. The rise and reach of social media, which is exactly what we're talking about here, such as private strategic communication firms and individuals, they are paid to effectively spread disinformation for political gain and profit. There are real risks in labeling communication disinformation without a full understanding of the speaker's motives. This is particularly concerning when governments get in on the act. In complicated and fast-changing world, disinformation today can be recognized as fact tomorrow. And then they go on to say public health authorities learned this the hard way during the COVID-19 pandemic. Here's my point is that let's say you're raising children or grandchildren. How do they survive? All of this reminds me of that story we've often heard about the frog that is in the pot of water. You know, you drop a frog in a hot pot of water, of course they're going to die immediately, but they're going to scream. But if you put them in a pot of water and turn it up slowly, they get used to it. And that's kind of where we're at as far as the massive amounts of information being fed to us. And is it disinformation or is it misinformation? And more important, how do we teach our children who are going to live in this world to understand what this is about? So I think one of the things that we have to do is sit down with our children and talk about who we are and what we stand for. I believe in going back to the basics when it comes to raising children. And I believe that this is probably one of the most important things, important principles and values that a family can do today is to raise their children to know who they are and what they stand for. I cannot emphasize that enough. Now, if you follow me regularly, you've heard me say it before, that's the easiest way so your child does not become a victim of exploitation. Because what happens in exploitation is that bad guys, whether they're organized crimes or pimps or pedophiles or whatever they are, they're looking for weak points in a person's character, something that they can manipulate. If you want to be loved, if you want somebody to take care of you, if you want to feel special, they will come in and fill in that gap. But that also opens the door for building trust with the wrong person, a person who will exploit you and manipulate you. And so this is the reason why I think it is so important that we build character and have this open dialogue with our kids so they're not easy to exploit. It is break time, so stay with me. We're going to be right back.
Societal Shift, A World Without Borders and a Home Without Walls. This is the most important book you will read this year, especially if you have children or grandchildren. We are living at the most important time in all of history. In 2020, the entire world will be connected by internet, more than 6 billion people coming together. Technology will provide many great advantages for our kids, but a world without borders for our kids is also a world without borders for pimps, predators, pedophiles, cartels, and organized crime. It is a home without walls because 87% of the kids sleep with their phone. It is the greatest societal experiment of all time. Our kids are technology geniuses, and their parents are technophobic.
Some are techno-impotent. New apps come with no warnings on how a predator will use them against our kids. Advancing technologies like encrypted messaging, vaporware, artificial intelligence, cryptocurrency, and the dark net will challenge law enforcement, teachers, and parents to keep kids safe. Recent research states that 9,000 kids a day are being blackmailed with a naked photo, and 58% will meet their predator. It is indeed a societal shift, and one in which most parents are unprepared. If you are a parent or grandparent, teacher, counselor, or social worker, please take time to read Societal Shift. Only $18.99 plus $6 shipping. Order today at millionkids.org. That's millionkids, millionkids.org. It'll be the greatest gift you can give your family and yourself. Order Societal Shift today. Million Kids takes checks and credit cards. Opal Singleton, the author, will personally sign the book and send it to you. Again, go to millionkids.org and order Societal Shift today. Join Million Kids. Keep our kids safe from predators.
Hello and welcome back to Explained Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton with millionkids.org. And we come to you every Saturday here at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer. I hope you will share the show with everyone you know. I appreciate all of you that support us financially or support us in your prayers. So I want to talk about how technology is changing the perception of truth out there, and also about how our world is changing as far as being able to receive data and how that changes our perspective. You know, we had the Republican convention a while back, and some of us watched it. And then yesterday or earlier this week, actually, we had the Democrat convention. And how you believe is going to change how you perceive what happened in there. But they also are going to assume that you are not smart enough on your own to figure out what really happened. And they are going to give you their personal slant. And I'm talking about the reporters, the people that do all the social media. They're reporting on this. And I don't have the statistics in front of us, but I believe it was Reuters that went out and did a survey about how all the information, much of the information provided with the Republican convention was in a negative fashion, with what was happening in the Democrat convention was in a positive fashion. And the numbers were staggering. I don't have them right in front of me. But it was an interesting thing because they're both reporting on the same event. So if you watch one particular news channel, you will get a particular perspective of what happened there. But if you watch a different news channel, you're going to get a completely different perspective because of the fact that literally these political companies, parties, hire professional people to tell you what you heard, just in case you're not able to figure it out yourself. So in working with this, I think it's important that your children understand the world of communication they live in. One of the things I would share with you is that I'm not against technology. This generation is going to live in a world of technology. It is how they are. They live and breathe it. They were brought up with it. They are absolutely controlled by it in many cases, but they're heavily influenced by what they hear. And keep in mind, it's different than the old days because they don't know the person that is presenting the information. It used to be that you would know the measure of the man by being able to talk to them, know their reputation, know what their standards are, know what they stand for, and know what they stand against. But it is coming so hard and heavy from foreign places that you have no knowledge of, that our kids are not going to be able to evaluate literally what it is they're hearing and whether or not it's true, or what the motivation is the right word, the intent that the people are wanting to accomplish when they share this information with you. Now, I'm not against technology. You maybe have heard me say this before, but for me, technology is like a car. It is not about the end product itself. It is how you choose to use that. You can take a car off to a university and get a degree, or you can take that car to a strip club and get yourself in trouble. It is not the car. It is how you choose to use the car, when you use it, how far you go, who you're going to see, what you're going to do when you get there. So the car is not the issue. It is the decision processes on how you choose to use it. There are many good uses for technology. I mean, our generation will have more exposure to information than any generation before them. They will be able to see so much more of the world than you and I could ever see. There are many fine uses for technology. You can share your art ideas. You can learn to paint. You can see how other people do art that previous generations would never have been exposed to. There's all kinds of cooking instructions and recipes that are out there, all kinds of historical, archaeological findings that you can look at even never leaving home. You can see it. You can understand how it affects the world. I think there's a lot of healthy humor on there, and it keeps you kind of motivated and lots of fun. But you can share ideas on many different subjects. You can share the majesty and the generosity of God by looking at YouTubes of various kinds of music that's out there and various kinds of natural settings. Being out in the wild was so refreshing for me, being able to watch bear catch salmon and watching the salmon run and look at the magnificent mountains that are up there and those glaciers and things like that. It is very motivating. It's very healthy. It's very supportive. And it gives you a way to stay close to loved ones who live far away. However, if you're going to live in this particular world, this is more than ever in any time in all of history about making good choices. And that's really where it's going to come down to for me is how do we teach our children to make healthy choices? And a lot of that has to do with knowing your principles and knowing what you stand for and being able to have values. I often suggest that families talk about family values, what you believe in, what you don't believe in. Write them down. I don't believe in stealing. It is not right for me to take what is not mine. I do believe in supporting other people and finding the good in other people. One of the things that really turn me off in these conferences is the need for the heads of the country, whether it's the previous one or the current one, to tear other people down so that they can feel more successful. That is not a trait I would like to teach my child. I want my child to understand what it means to be a true leader, to find the good in other people, to be able to support other people when they have need for support. One of the things that I would share with you is having all of this information provided to you 24/7 it's an anxiety consolidator. And I mean that with all my heart. I know several older people that can't get out anymore, and they get all caught up in what is going on in all of this publicity and the wars that are about to happen, the inflation that is there, the onslaught of negative information that is being fed to us. And it's like an emotional steamroller. And they go through the ups and the downs and the anxiety and the anger. And they see people that are telling bald-faced lies on television, and they want to do something about it. But they're using the present for emotions that they can't do anything about. One of the things that is important in talking with our kids is to talk about what is it that I can control, what can I do, and how can I make an impact that will be healthy for me. I think that that's very, very important. This generation of kids will live on a global scale in ways that we have never seen before. And there are many positive choices that they can make. They can choose not to look at pornography. One of the devastating things that I think about technology, and now moving on to artificial intelligence, is the way they use this technology to interweave massive amounts of pornography, animated pornography, in our kids' video games. We are putting our kids on these games just as they're going through puberty. And all throughout the games, there's this constant animation of it's okay to violate each other. It's okay to kill a cop. It's okay to rape a woman and get money back for it. It's just a game. It's not real. But they're also counting on the fact that kids have no values that are engaged in that. And so we have these people that are using technology to reach our kids, to keep them upset, to keep them involved, keep them engaged, and maybe not for the causes that we think should be right. I think it's important to sit down and share with your child. You have a choice. You are what you put in your mind. If you put trash in your mind, you will not be a quality human being. You have the ability to reach the most positive things, get a solid education, be empathetic, care about others, decide to improve the world. You know, living in a world of 24/7 information takes discipline, it takes wisdom, and it takes a desire to succeed. And it needs a obvious conversation to make that happen. So I think that it's an interesting time. I have shared some of this with some of my friends. I think that if you take a child with poor cognitive reasoning, with low self-esteem, they're easily swayed or they're influenced, and they will become a child that is easy to groom, easy to seduce, and easy to exploit. So I think it's important that we talk to our kids about choices. You know, I often laugh when I'm talking with people out there in the public. I'll say, you would not take your 7-year-old to a strip club and say, let me know how this works out. You know, you teach your child to have standards. And yet we put them online. We put prepubescent kids online in games where they're going to meet pedophiles with the belief that our kid will be smart enough to stand against them, without giving them all the equipment, the discussion, the insight to understand the environment they are being put into. You know, if a child is not old enough to make cognitive decisions, to evaluate right or wrong, truth from disinformation, you know, you need to know who you are if you're going to stand on a worldwide web where you can be reached by everybody. This is really, really important to do this and to understand it. So I want to just kind of share with you in closing a little bit about how we can go about handling a lot of these choices. So it isn't about whether or not it is not about whether or not you use technology regularly, but whether you use it wisely. This is Opal Singleton. It's break time. Be right back. Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited, Crimes and Technology. I want to tell you about a book I wrote called Seduced, The Grooming of America's Teenagers. It's all about how predators access, groom, recruit, and exploit our young people using social media, online gaming, video chat rooms. Technology is changing at the speed of light, and we have to understand how to keep our kids safe from predators. So you can get this book by going to www.millionkids.org. It's $16. I'll sign it and I'll ship it to you personally. We hope that you will order this book, educate yourself about how to keep our kids safe in this day of changing technology. Join us each Saturday for our radio show at Exploited, Crimes and Technology at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
Custom Service Systems, a proud supporter of Million Kids, is a family-owned and operated commercial cleaning company servicing the Inland Empire and surrounding areas since 1974. CSS takes pride in their ability to maintain the business facilities they serve and their long-lasting relationships with their valued clients. CSS provides a variety of cleaning systems customized to client needs, including deep cleaning and disinfectant to be COVID-19 compliant. From basic office cleaning to windows and floors, CSS will clean up your mess so you don't have to stress. Custom Service Systems cares about families and communities and wants to give back. Custom Service Systems are proud supporters of Million Kids to keep kids safe from predators. If you need the best cleaning services for your business or corporation, contact Custom Service Systems at cssclean.com. Again, cssclean.com, or call 951-781-9345. That's 951-781-9345. You will know you found the best. Custom Service Systems.
Hello, this is Opal Singleton of Exploited Crimes and Technology. Let me tell you about my friend Doris Anderson at Remax Realty in Upland. She is amazing. She's kind, she's patient, but she listens. And she's informed, and she will help you with your real estate transaction in a way that works for you. Doris, in full disclosure, often supports the work of Million Kids because she cares about young people. But she knows how to analyze a market, how to market a property, and how to find just the right transaction for both buyers and sellers. If you're looking to buy or sell real estate or invest in income property, contact Doris Anderson at Remax Realty 951-733-8899. That's 951-733-8899. 951-733-8899.
AM 590. The Answer.
Hello and welcome back to Exploited Crimes and Technology. This is Opal Singleton, and we are talking about the impact of 24/7 being given information and having information overload. What is equally important, though, is that I believe that if we're going to have our kids online, that they have the ability, and by the way, this isn't just our kids, it's all of us. And I've talked to my friends about that you have the ability to discern what's true and what is not true. This is so important because a large percentage of our lives are led by being online and receiving data from people that we have no idea who they are and what their intentions are. In doing the research for this show, I came across an article that I thought was really good by Charissa Chung. She says, I work at Microsoft. I never realized how evil tech can be until I had kids. And here's how I limit their screen time to 1 hour a day. Now, that's a big challenge to limit your own screen time to 1 hour a day. But as they're talking, they were saying that one of the things they did, mom and dad, was they took on an app called Azure. Azure, Azure Identity. It's a Microsoft Cloud service provider. And what it does is it basically gives them control about what is happening. Everything they do online is mirrored on your phone. They have kids 9, 12, 13, and 15. And what they're trying to do here, and how much I support this, is that they try to keep family time where everybody puts their phone away and they have open discussions. They try to engage in a lot of activities that does not involve online activity. In other words, hiking, soccer, those kinds of things. They try to have open discussions about, bullying and being catfished and why you never want to send a nude. They limit the amount of time they have. The older child gets up to 3 hours a day. The younger children only get 1 hour. But here's the problem with all of this that I want to share with you. And that is that we have to stop and realize that our world changed sometime in the last 5-10 years. And we are just getting started. For the first time in all of history, many of you know I wrote a book about this called Societal Shift, A World Without Borders, A Home Without Walls. For the first time in all of history, we can now all reach the entire world, and the entire world can reach us. Now, there's plenty of people in our own city, our own state, our own nation that would like to change your thinking and also be able to mold your child's thinking. They want them to believe that sex change operations are a right that ought to be given to small children without parental improvement. Well, we need to talk about those kinds of things. The kinds of morality decisions that the state wants to make for you and your child needs to be having open discussion within your family. I often think about something my parents taught me, that if you don't know what you stand for, you will fall for anything. And if there was ever a time in all of our society that we need to get back to the basics with our children, get back the control of the interaction, and saying there will be people who will tell you that it's okay to allow people to steal and then not be charged. There will be people who will tell you that it is okay to go in and harm other people or bully other people or make outrageous claims even though they can't be proved. But what is important for us is that we are people with standards. We are people with values. I honestly believe we've got to get back to having pride in our family, and all of us understand our family values, that we are not going to allow outsiders to redefine what is moral, what is right, and what is truth. And that we teach children to analyze statements and talk about what is true and what is the motivation of the people behind you that are giving you untruths. This generation is going to have more misinformation and disinformation than any generation before us. And that is true for us as adults, mom and dad. I listen to the stuff that's coming and going, and I say that possibly could not be right. And yet it is put out there by artificial intelligence, and it's redistributed around the world at a fast speed and multi-million times. And pretty soon we began to say, well, maybe that was right. And you start to question whether or not what is true and what is not true. I think it is time for that kind of open dialogue within families. And that includes grandma and grandpa with your grandchildren. You guys can get away with more than the rest of the world, okay? Do not be afraid to share your values and your principles and your thoughts with your grandchild. The day will come when you won't be able to do that. So do it now, and do it deliberately. Make a decision to have those open conversations. Your kids and your grandkids will thank you one day. My name is Opal Singleton. This organization is called millionkids.org. Millionkids.org. If you want to donate to our organization and support our work, we would truly appreciate it. We do a lot of education. We do a lot of research. We support a lot of first responders out there to train on the latest kinds of crimes. But more important to us is to keep our kids safe online, especially, but safe from predators, whether it's trafficking, whether it's online exploitation, or whether it's somebody who is bullying you or threatening your family. We need to be able to educate our kids so that they can be strong and stand up for what is right. Just because other people make decisions to tell disinformation or misinformation does not mean that we are excused from telling the truth and standing for our values. And that's exactly what our organization is about. If you want to donate to Million Kids, it's millionkids.org. We have a P.O. box on there, too. If you're old-fashioned and you like to send a check, I like those checks. I'll go get them myself. Thank you. We are a national organization where we're centered right here in Riverside area, and we work all across the Inland Empire. We support law enforcement. We appreciate law enforcement, appreciate the law enforcement that goes out there to keep you safe. The fire departments, the first responders, those people that are out there protecting us. We've got to stand up for the people who put their lives on the line to take care of our city, our nation, and our homes. I so much appreciate them. Without public safety, we will have no future for our child. I do not believe in defunding police. I do not believe in decriminalizing crime. We have to protect our families, we have to protect our community, and we have to stand for those people and fund those people and support those people who put their lives on the line to protect us. And I'm very grateful for our police departments, our sheriff departments, our district attorneys. We live in a great community and we're very, very blessed. So you folks have a great week this week, okay? It is good to be back in the trenches, hitting it here. I hope that you'll put your arms around your family this week and let them know how proud you are of them, how much you love them, and that you're right there for them. We'll see you next Saturday at 3 o'clock on AM 590, The Answer.
This message is all about Million Kids, the organization that helps locate missing kids throughout Southern California and educates to keep kids safe from predators. Million Kids educates school administrators, teachers, parents, and teenagers how predators identify a potential victim and the methods they use to recruit innocent kids. BMW of Riverside is a proud supporter of Million Kids. Visit BMW of Riverside at the Adams Street exit off the 91 freeway or click bmwofriverside.com.